This is Lise. She lives in Mern in Denmark, but she trains online with me at London Savate. What's going to be the best way to get her up to fighter standard so she can prepare for the Helsinki Savate Open? That's what we're going to look at today. This is the story how Lise and I trained to get her to an international Savate competition.
So I first learned about Savate when my old trainer Chris started Savate class.
I trained with Chris many years ago. He knew I was training Savate students online and messaged me to see if I could work with Lise.
That's when he introduced me to James and we started training.
So Lise and I are in different countries training only over our phones, but we were able to recreate some traditional coaching methods of demonstrating, observing, coaching, helping, talking, but is it going to be enough to get her to her first fight? I started Lise off with my 40-minute stock Savate lessons. Welcome. Begin your warm-up. Bring up your right knee, extend, keep your elbows back in. Salute. And get going.
The videos are very good quality and easy to follow for a new person training Savate.
She would then send me short clips of her training so I could see how she was doing. The first thing to get right with any student is the basics, the strikes, the techniques, the footwork, and I think you can do that with recorded footage, so watching someone else do it. You can watch, observe and learn, and all it took for me was watching her clips back and saying, you know, a little higher here or turn a bit more there, what would happen if you stepped a bit more.
It was unusual not being in the same room as my coach, but sending video and talking about it actually worked.
As Lise got better, I had to make the feedback more personal. So I'd slow down bits of her footage to explain something, or point her towards lessons that I thought would be particularly useful. Today we're going to be training offline attacks.
I could feel my Savate technique improving, and slowly it was making more sense to me.
Then Lise came to train with me for a few days in London. Yes, this part isn't strictly online, but even if you live in another continent, you can still meet up with your coach maybe once or twice a year.
James had planned 5 days of training, intending with my Green Glove grading, so that was a really great opportunity to learn differently, to gain some sparring experience, and I remember coming home feeling more confident and more relaxed and with a lot of inspiration for my training.
We had proved that her basic training online had worked. She could attack, defend, move, and even try out the sparring. That's when she said she wanted to train for a fight. I selected the Helsinki Savate Open. I've been there many times myself. It's a great event, takes place every March, and that gave us a few months to prepare.
I first thought about going to the Helsinki Savate Open because I wanted to test and develop my technique.
Lise would not only be the first online trained student, but the first international Savate competitor from Denmark that we know of. Please comment below if you are from or know someone from Denmark who has fought internationally, because I'd love to get in contact with you. In this phase, I'd send Lise tactical ideas for her training. The sort of themes that Savate uses for what's called asso atem, themed asso, themed fighting. Those kind of tactics are where you want your mind when you fight. You're no longer thinking about an individual technique, and you're not broadening it out so much to your overall feeling about the event, but it's somewhere in between, about the length of a round. That's where you want your thinking as a fighter. It was about this time we hit on this really good method. Instead of just watching footage and writing my feedback, I would record audio over the video so that when Lise watched it back, she'd know exactly what I meant and when I meant it. You're doing it well again here. The punch to chassis, you get that range right almost every time. It would be hard for an opponent to defend against you with that. In the final month or two of training, I told Lise this has to be hard now, because training on your own is not the same as training with other people. You don't get the same stresses, the same difficulties, you don't put yourself in the same pressure.
James told me that now it's gonna be tough. There will be tears and frustration, and when you don't feel like training, you should do it. So that was quite different from anything else I tried, but the motivation for the goal is indescribable, so I kept going.
Now, I've trained on my own many times for fights, and I know the sort of things that I would put in for that. For example, doing 30 seconds of burpees before every round to simulate being out of breath when you box, or doing the minute's rest in plank position. even punching myself in the face or falling over in the middle of the round. I'm preparing myself and my mind for what it's like when you get into the ring. So I had some tools that I could give to Lise to make her training more difficult. That's how we did it. March was now upon us, time to get on a plane, go to Helsinki.
As I arrived, I first noticed these amazing facilities and how well organized the event is. Everyone was really friendly and supportive. I had my coach and my clubmates around me, and they were a great help to get me ready for my first start. I was feeling nervous, but I knew I'd done enough training and followed what my coach had told me.
Lise was on fourth fight, time to see. She took a few knocks as she started, but soon began to find her feet.
I found getting in range much harder than I expected, but my punches seemed to work when I moved forward, and I was able to make my rear leg touch.
She was determined, kept throwing her kicks. She got her spin kicks to work, she got her punches to work, but most of all, she kept going, she had the fitness for it, and showed that she deserved to be there, even if the result wasn't hers. Lise's second fight was against her London Savate clubmate Delphine, whom she had already sparred when she came to London.
She is very good at getting in range and making her kicks touch in all heights, but I discovered that using counterattacks to the support leg from training worked.
Lise was much more selective in her kicks, and this was a big improvement, even if still no win. On the second day, I think Lise was able to combine both experiences. She was both more technical, but showed that she was handling the stress that much better.
My body was a bit tired from the day before, but I didn't even notice when I was in the ring.
We even got to see a few spinning fouette tornado kicks, and she pushed right until the end. Just keep moving. And I think became on that day an international Savate competitor. 30 seconds. So Lise trained real hard, often on her own. She got into the ring, got kicked, she got a medal. Would she do it again?
Yes, absolutely. I'm gonna take some time to process and adjust and work with James on my technique and strategies, and will definitely be back for more.